Hello, hello. Welcome back to Yoga with Paige, or welcome if we've not practiced together before. Hop into something comfy and let's get ready to release that booty. So this practice is targeted all on the glutes, which is perfect if we are a little sore there. Sorry, my mind blank for a second. If we are sore from a workout, if they're really, really tight, this is a great release. Or if we just sometimes like to target certain areas and practice keeping our awareness and our attention in one specific area of our body. So whenever you're ready, we don't need any props, but if you're super tight, you may want to grab a block. Other than that, we get started sitting up on our knees at the back of the mat. So beginning to open up and just kind of wake up the area of the body. Take little teeny tiny hip sways. So if you want to take a breath or two here first. And I would recommend taking the knees a little bit more than hip width apart, planting the hands in front of the knees, and just slowly taking the hips to one side until you feel the stretch in the outer part, and then gently through center over to the other. And if you are super sore, like I am, you may not go as deep in these stretches today. That's okay. We'll find some dynamic movement to help open up and release, and then we'll find some static, longer holds where we can really use our breath to help us. So just kind of warming up really small here. And make sure to find anything that feels good in this class, especially today. Depending on what part is tight or sore, find all those juicy little weird angles. All right, and then whenever you're ready, take the hands in front, lift yourself up onto the knees. So we don't want the hands underneath the shoulders. We want them inches before, maybe 6 inches in front of the shoulders. Ground down through the tops of the feet and continue your hip circles, your sways, but make them a little bit deeper. So really exaggerate these movements. Try to send your hips over as far as you can. And then we can start big circles. So this is where the hands come in, pressing into the hands. Juicy. Yes, and take as much time as you need here. If we need more of a warm-up before we get started, coming into our stretches, you can always pause me and take more circles or rewind. Just breathing it out here. Hopefully feeling a little bit warmed up. And whenever you're ready, remember going at your own pace. We meet in tabletop, taking the hands under the shoulders now, sliding them back. Really grip through the fingers here. And mobilize through the spine with a little cat-cow. Inhale, lift the belly, send the hips up. Exhale, I meant lift the gaze, not lift the belly. Exhale, round through the back, tuck the tailbone in. Inhale, lift the hips. Exhale, squeeze the glutes together as we round. Just finding our last round here. Meeting back in neutral spine. Ground down with the palms, grip through the fingers, and this left leg. Send the right up, pointing the toes, tiger pose, taking a little back bend if it feels good, but squeezing through the glutes. So finding a little bit of strength here. Inhale and exhale. Take the knee towards the nose. Crunch. Inhale to lift into tiger pose. And exhale, crunch. We'll take 5 of these. Moving with the breath. Remembering to go as slow and as careful as you need to. This is supposed to be a gentle release. Beautiful. And then when you're finished, keep this right leg in the air. Tuck it behind the left. So we're coming into a little cow face legs. So crossing at the ankles, planting the tops of the feet, gently sit back. We might have some audible exhales today. That's okay. All right, take your time to settle in here. This is one of our longer holds. And your knees, like I said, might not be stacked perfectly on top of each other if they normally are. I definitely have a lot more space today than I usually do. Very, very tight here. So make sure to just settle in, wiggle about. Trying to root down through the sit bones. It's okay if your knees are up. Maybe your foot is even off the mat. Our focus is on the booty. So if we're grounded, if we found our position, we're here for about a minute. So you can use your breath. If we want to slowly fold forward, maybe we just focus on sitting here and stacking the knees. Consciously releasing tension if you're holding it in the hips. Finding some breath. Finding a little quiet time for yourself. The fingertips can rest on the feet. Maybe the fingertips are on the mat, helping you fold forward. Don't force anything in this practice, really ever. Finding a few more breaths here before lifting back up, and we'll gently uncross the legs and come back into tabletop for the other side. Take your last loving breath. And then inhale, lift the chest if we found ourselves folding. Carefully uncross the legs and come back to tabletop. We can reset with a few rounds of cat-cow here if you would like. Maybe some more little hip sways, little shiggity shakes. And then inhale, ground down through this right leg. Lift the left, tiger pose. Exhale, crunch. Inhale, reach. Feeling all of the muscles back there. Maybe it extends a little bit down the hamstrings. Taking our 5 rounds. And then releasing back into your cow face pose, crossing this left leg behind the right knee and gently pressing back into your seat. Working with the same dealio on this side. Take your little settling in wiggles. Maybe a little sigh of relief, who knows? And then just find your presence. Use your breath to anchor you back in. Sending all of your loving energy towards the hips. And maybe it feels good to kind of lean from side to side. Stretching the sides of the glutes, like I said, play around. Find what feels the most healing, therapeutic to you. It does not have to look like mine. Maybe some circles. Ooh. Avoiding anything that brings actual pain. Discomfort is different, especially if you are sore. If your muscles are sore, but if anything hurts, please gently come out. Make sure to listen to your body. And then if we were kind of wiggling around, take our last breath here to maybe close the eyes. Find one breath of stillness before we move on. And gently unravel the legs. Going to come back through tabletop as a little transition. So find your tabletop in the middle of the mat, and then turn to the long edge. Extend the left leg long, placing the heel in line with the knee, and lift up, grounding down through the outer edge of the foot, or we can point the foot as well. Finding one big heart opener here. Inhale, lift the arms, and exhale, let the left hand go towards the foot as the right reaches overhead. One breath here for a little stretch. And then exhale, turn towards this left foot, coming into half splits. So kickstand this right leg back, flex the left foot, and send the hips back. They're nice and square now, lifting up through the chest. This is where we can use blocks if we need more accessibility. We want a nice long spine. One more breath here. And then exhale, plant the left foot, coming into a low lunge, reaching the right leg back, lifting the chest up, taking the hands to the knee, squeezing, finding active muscles in the glutes here. Reach up. On this next exhale, plant the right hands on the inside of the foot. Tuck the back toes to lift the knee. Send the right heel back towards the back of the room. On this inhale, peel the left arm up for a little twist. One breath here. And then exhale, come back down through low lunge. And shift your weight and come into pigeon pose. Heel toe that foot across to the other side of the mat. Gently lying the left shin down. And again, we might not go as deep as we normally do in these postures today, but just find what feels good to you. Lifting the chest, plant the fingertips in front of the left knee, and slowly using your breath, creep the hands out, maybe coming onto the forearms or into all the way sleeping swan. Moving carefully, maybe a few breaths in each spot. Using the exhales to go a little bit deeper. Release tension in the hips, in the shoulders. Taking your last breath in pigeon pose. Lifting the chest. Taking the hands behind the legs, coming onto the sit bones, planting the feet. We're facing the long edge of the mat again. Finding some seated windshield wipers. Ooh. Kind of massaging out the glutes at this point. Beautiful. And then keeping this right leg tucked, sit up on the sit bones and try to cradle the left leg in towards the chest. So we might only be here. We might be here. Maybe we pull it kind of all the way up into the chest, kind of just rocking and rolling it out. Loosen it up. And if this is a little bit hard or tricky for your balance, we can always extend the leg long, and then we can kind of cradle it in deeper. Just about one more breath here. And exhale to release. Still facing the long edge of the mat. Come back onto the knees and find gate pose on the other side, extending the right leg. Inhale, reach up. Greet this day. And exhale, find a little side stretch. Finding length along the ribs. Big breath in. And exhale, plant that left hand coming into half splits. Our right leg is extended in front, flexing that beautiful foot back of the face. Inhale, lift the chest. And on your exhale, we fold. One more big round of breath in this half split. So maybe we go a little bit deeper. And exhale, low lunge, plant that foot. And lift up. Active in the glutes and active in the core, squaring the hips, sitting up in our low lunge. And exhale, plant the left hand, reach the knee up, and find your big full body twist. 2 breaths here. Create space in the back body. And exhale back through our low lunge to come into our pigeon pose. Using this position here as a little check-in. Notice how you're doing thus far. Taking a few breaths with the chest lifted, and then maybe coming down onto the forearms or all the way down if your body and your practice allows. Finding either little wiggles or a static hold. Coming back to the breath. Maybe noticing some thoughts or some experiences that are drifting into your consciousness with these hip releasing poses. Taking note of them. Meeting yourself wherever you are. Hold space for yourself here as you create space. And whenever you've had enough of our pigeon pose, you can gently raise the chest, coming back onto the sit bones to find a few more little windshield wipers. Open up through the groins. And then taking whatever variation of our leg cradle that feels good to you. Maybe extending. Really trying to reach my outer glutes over here. Whew. Taking about 2 more breaths. And then we gently roll onto the back. So whenever you're ready, you can release the right leg, make your way onto the back. For the last little portion of this practice, you can hug the knees into the chest. Give yourself a big hug here. Send yourself some love for getting on the mat, releasing some physical and mental tension. And then taking a little reverse pigeon, crossing this right ankle over the left knee. Interlace the fingers behind the left thigh and pull the legs into the chest. Finding just a few breaths here, so use your exhales to pull them in a little bit closer as far as feels good. Maybe using the elbow to help open through the knee. One last breath. And release the legs on the exhale. Crossing the left ankle over the right knee. Pulling them in. Pressing the lower back down into the mat. As you feel the mat lift up to meet you and help you release. It's so sweet of it. Finding your last breath on this side. Before releasing into a twist, extend the left leg long and extend the right leg up towards the sky. So we can keep a nice bend in the knee here. It doesn't need to be straight. And on your next exhale, just gently cross that leg over the left. It might even feel better to keep a little bend in the knee. Just trying to really extend through this whole side and bottom of the leg. As we twist, maybe gaze over the right shoulder. Finding our last little movement here. And then exhale, return to the back. And gently send the left leg up. Big breath in through the nose. And exhale, twist. Finding your version. And whenever you're ready, you can return onto the back. And very, very gently make your way up into a seated position. Let's take one big breath. Let's seal this practice in. Seal those glutes. Inhale, reach the arms up. And exhale, bring them down, heart center. Thank you so much for joining me on the mat today, joining me on Yoga with Paige. I look forward to the next time we see each other.